Right, and we're off. It is 6:30 in the morning and we are heading off from Falmouth. The forecast looks good. It was a bit windy yesterday, so we're expecting a bit of a swell, but on the whole we should have a good crossing. Hopefully we will be in the Isles of Scilly around lunchtime, but let's see. Goodbye Falmouth. As you can see from the wind, there isn't really any, which makes for a calmer crossing. You can kind of see it in the video, there's quite a swell left over from yesterday. It wasn't anything uncomfortable at all, it was just a swell. We plodded along slowly for most of it. We did speed up for a little while, but on the whole, we travelled slowly. There we go, past the lizard, and off we go. Next time we see land, once we can no longer see Land's End, will be the Isles of Scilly. We can see them! Just about in the distance you can see the Isles of Scilly. The smiles on the faces say it all really, don't they? We love watching them get closer and closer, and this amazing archipelago revealing how absolutely stunning it is. We decided to head into St Mary's to see if we could get a mooring buoy in the harbour. Initially we didn't, but eventually we did, and that was a lovely place to stop. First thing we did was we got off. Let's explore this amazing place. The clarity of the water is something none of us have ever seen before. I can't put it into words, it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible being in a place that is so unspoilt and with barely any cars. I read somewhere there are 80 cars on the island. Visitors aren't allowed cars. You can hire bikes and you can hire golf carts, but you can't hire cars. So it's like stepping back in time, really. Absolutely stunning. Later on we retreated to a beautiful sunset. Let's see what tomorrow brings. You know it's going to be a beautiful day when you wake up to a stunning sunrise over the island of St Mary's. Today we decided to go out for an explore in the Rib and we headed over to the island of Samson. We took our wetsuits and our snorkeling gear with us to see what we would find. We were absolutely flabbergasted at the clarity of the water, the whiteness of the sand. It was just amazing. We all got suited up and in we went with the underwater camera. You can see quite how clear the water is. These videos just don't do it justice. You could see quite a long way once you had your head under the water. Don't be fooled by it though, it might be close to 30 degrees, but I can assure you the water is not warm. Even with our wetsuits on, we were freezing. The boat gauges were saying that the water temperature was 16 degrees, which is okay when it's warm and you can come out and warm up, but it is still freezing. On this particular day, Jack was the only one that was brave enough to actually full on swim. Hats off to you, Jack, you're amazing. We woke up to another stunning sunrise and what looked like was going to be a fantastic day. So we decided to get the ferry across to Tresco today to see what beauties that island holds. We decided to pay to go in to see the gardens at Tresco. It wasn't cheap, but it definitely did not disappoint. Because here has its own microclimate, the flowers and the foliage that can grow here are very different to what we get on the mainland in England. And to see it all growing and flourishing, it's incredible really. We were extremely lucky again today with the weather. It was upwards of 30 degrees and glorious blue sky and sunshine. Absolutely incredible. One of the things that really amazed us today was the ferry was so busy heading over this morning. We thought, oh, it's going to be really crowded. It really wasn't. Once everyone stepped off that ferry, everyone kind of dispersed. Walking around the gardens, we barely saw anybody, which I think just adds to the beauty of this place. We decided to sit and have a bit of a cool off next to a fountain, and while we were sat there, this lovely little robin kept coming over to say hello. Kept coming really close and then hopping away. He kept doing it until some other people started walking around, and then he flew off. But a little special treat for the day. Once we'd finished in the gardens, we went for an explore around the island and saw some amazing sights. And then we made it to the beach. The crystal white sand, sparkling blue water, and because it was so hot as well, it was beautiful and refreshing. Just look at that view. I will never tire of watching this video. It's just, it takes your breath away. To think that we are still in England, we could be anywhere in the world. It's an experience and an adventure that I don't think any of us will ever forget. Started to get a bit peckish, and we found this incredible cafe called The Ruin. Now, I have never had lunch with a view quite like this before, and they were the loveliest pizzas we've ever had. It was absolutely baking hot, but nothing could take away from where we were. After lunch, we carried on with our walk. And when we got back, we were treated to another stunning sunset. So today we've decided to hire some bikes, and so that we can explore the island of St Mary's. It's a bit too far to walk around. After our 7 miles of walking around Tresco yesterday, I don't think any of us could quite handle too much walking today. The very kind man in the bike shop recommended we try and find this rope swing. Now, we've been on many rope swings in our time, but none of them quite match up to this one. It was amazing. What you can't quite see from the video is there is a sheer drop over the other side, right down onto the beach. And our fearless child spent ages on here. I can't blame him, and I'm not going to lie, Luke and I did have a go as well. Who couldn't? It's not often you get this opportunity. And we were there for a good hour and we didn't see another soul.
Oh, that was close.
we got to enjoy this place all to ourselves. We explored a little bit more around where the rope swing was, and we found some, well, stunning places, beautiful views. Everywhere you looked was a beautiful view. You couldn't take it all in. We cycled the whole way around the island and ended up the top by the Castle Hotel. Now, when I say the hill to get up here was steep, I mean it was steep. The boys both managed to bike the whole way up, and how they did that I have no idea. But the view from the top was worth it once we got up. We came back down and headed round near where the boat is and had beautiful lunch on the beach. When we got back to the boat, Luke and Jack decided to go out in the rib, see if they could catch some fish. They did manage to catch a couple, but unfortunately none of them were keepers. What they did see were seals and lots of cormorants. When they got back, we all decided to go for a swim. We all had to go on the paddleboard. Luke actually managed to stand up on the paddleboard, which hats off to him because I can't do it. But we all enjoyed some time in the water. Again, it was freezing, but because it was so hot, it was very refreshing. Today we had a bit more of a chilled out day, but we did decide to take the rib and the paddleboard and all the snorkel gear round to a little bay and see what we could find. Jack had a go at being towed behind the rib on the paddleboard, and then it was Luke's turn. He actually managed to stay on. I think he did fall off once, but I didn't get that on camera. Once we anchored up the rib, we all got off and in to explore. I think we chose one of the only areas that didn't actually have any fish, but it's still amazing when Luke did some underwater filming to see the clarity of the water and just, well, the beauty that this place holds is just, I know I keep saying it, but it is amazing. Loving life. And again, another stunning sunset. On Thursday we had a very chill out day. We didn't really do much, but to start the day Jack and I did go to shore to get some provisions, and we ran into Carly and Hank from Sailing Cadoa. Jack was in his element. He was so happy to meet Hank. The boys decided to go out in the rib, and they took Jack's remote control speedboat out with them. I'm not quite sure who had more fun, Luke or Jack, but they both enjoyed themselves, and that's all that matters. just can't tire of these mornings. This was out of our bedroom window this morning. Today, another sunny day, we decided to head on the ferry across to St Martin's. Believe it or not, this is actually their main road. That just goes to show, again, barely any cars whatsoever. I think we saw 3 all day. And again, absolutely stunning island. We saw this beach that looked good for rock pooling, so down we headed. Luke managed to find crab. Jack then found an even smaller crab. Some of the smallest crabs we've ever seen. But we enjoyed looking around. We were there for ages. We saw lots of sea anemones, lots of crabs, lots of fish. It was absolutely beautiful. And again, we were the only people on the beach. Once we'd had enough at the beach, we went exploring around the island. We were determined to walk around the whole of St Martin's today, and we did just that. Over the other side of the island, we found another beach that looked good for rock pooling. So down we went and put on our water shoes again and found some amazing things. On this beach we actually found some starfish, which if you look closely you can see all of its tentacles moving, which is incredible. Jack then also found a little starfish. We then had an explore on another beach while we were waiting for the ferry. When we got back we were so hot that Luke decided to take Jack out for a ride in the donut. This kid just has an incredible life really, doesn't he? He's extremely lucky, and they had an absolute blast. Today, for what we knew was going to be our last day on the island, we decided to head across to St Agnes on the ferry. And this island was amazing. Again, they all are. I couldn't tell you which one is the nicest because they all are absolutely incredible. These roads in these photos are their main roads. When you think about the M25 and the M1, very, very different. It's such a different pace of life. Everyone is so chilled out and relaxed. And everyone is so amazingly friendly. At certain states of the tide, you can walk between St Agnes and the island of Ger. So that's exactly what we did. And the other island was much different. It was a much rockier terrain, it was a lot greener and very hilly. We managed to climb all the way to the top, which was tricky. It wasn't a path or anything, you did climb up the rocks. But for this view when we got to the top, it was definitely worth the struggle. There's the walkway we walked across. So once we got down, we decided to have a walk in the coves. They were absolutely stunning. It hasn't come out on the video, but there was the sand as it was being lifted up by the gentle waves was actually really sparkly. It was absolutely stunning. We went foraging in the rocks and we found a couple of guppies. Jack managed to find a tiny fish and actually catch it, which was amazing. And Luke found this incredible lobster. I would love to be able to say that we were able to take it home and cook it up for dinner, but unfortunately its shell was soft, which means that they aren't any good. They retain too much water. Even though this one was well within keeping size, we very heartbreakingly had to put it back. Very lucky for the lobster, but we've been wanting to catch and cook a lobster for ages, so for us it was gutting. While we were waiting for the ferry to get back, we decided to go into a pub to cool off for a bit and get a nice cold drink, and these are the pair that I was sat with in the pub. We were in fits of giggles. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without these two. Back at the boat, Jack and I decided to go swimming. As we were about to get in the water, Jack spotted this little jelly swimming right at the back of the boat. Quite glad we didn't just jump in. And again, a stunning sunset. This was a lovely way to end our last day on the island. We knew we were going to get up in the morning and have to leave what we would class as absolute paradise. We have had the most incredible just over a week here, and I would seriously recommend a trip to the Scillies to anybody. It was amazing. Now on with the rest of our adventure.